Let's bring in Andrew Peters, co-host of After the Whistle, former NHLer, and I did mention the up-and-coming Buffalo Sabres. Is that the feel now that they stuck it to Jack Eichel last night?
Oh, and what a sticking it was.
How are you, Petey?
Yeah, they're good, man. Good to be on with you guys. How's everything going with you?
We're good. We're good. We just want to get a feel now of how it went down, and then Jack could have easily kind of left things alone, and
he did not
give the happy to be here, taking one day at a time, all those cliches, and he chose to go a different path. But let's get your thoughts.
Well, I mean, about first and foremost, the game itself. I don't know if you guys saw much of it. I know the Leafs were playing as well, but he looked rattled the whole game. I mean, he looked rattled the entire game. And, rightfully so, right? I mean, that's a tough situation for a guy like that to be in. I'll even throw him a bone. But, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to play under those circumstances. I don't think he has ever even imagined playing in a circumstance where he would be booed like that. I mean, the Sabres were awesome in the first period, terrible in the second, and it just could have gone either way in the third. And the poetic bounce at the end of the game with Alex Tuch taking it from Eichel and then scoring the empty netter. Both guys involved in the trade scored. Jack didn't look, great, but I mean, he wears his emotions on his sleeves. And I just think last night after the game, just what an idiot. What an absolute idiot. I mean, I've worked in Buffalo covering the team now since I retired, back in 2011, 2012. And I mean, I was watching this game in the post-game interview with my brother, and we had to rewind it. I couldn't believe what he said. And I just think to myself, it's so easy.
Petey, what bothered you? What bothered you more? Was it that they must have been booing me because they wish I was still here, or was it that it took me 7 years, or it took them 7 years and me being traded to start cheering again?
It was the whole emotion of it. He didn't let me down because he's so immature, and he's always been this way. And he had the grand stage yesterday to show his maturity, show that he can take the bullets from the fans and the loss and show that he's a pro. And he's just not. I mean, he's just not. That is what Jack Eichel is. And I don't want to say this about him. I wanted when he went to his interview last night, when they cut to his interview, I'm like, okay, I want to see a more mature, a guy that's accepted what happened, the whole fiasco with the neck, the trade request for the year before. You can put your maturity on full display. And he didn't disappoint. I mean, he didn't disappoint the people. He didn't disappoint the haters. I mean, he fed right into them. And and then he pisses on Buffalo on his way out. And I just think to myself, this is a city that literally worshipped the ground he walked on, even when he was burning bridges all over town. They literally worshiped this guy. The fans were so angry with the team with how they handled him. And he goes and does that. And he doesn't help himself. He proves everybody right that was against him. And it's a bad look. It's a bad look because in 7 years that he was here, 6 years that he was there, the crowd was electric at times. It wasn't his fault that they didn't make the playoffs and all that. I think he played his ass off when he was there. But just an entitled, spoiled kid who has never had to face adversity. And I mean, so a shameless plug here for our podcast After the Whistle, but Craig Rivet just absolutely assassinated him today on our show, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm sure I'm not coming on here saying anything that you haven't already said, Kipper. I mean,
we haven't really gotten to that deep on the conversation, but I think you and Craig probably are portraying a good portion of Buffalo fans who had to endure this fiasco.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, like and you know Buffalo, like, you know, Buffalo gets a bad rap, and if you've never played there, if you didn't have success there, then you have no idea what it's like to play in that market. But it is one of the, I put it up there against any market when it comes to fan intelligence and awareness. Okay? Their fans are aware, their fans are intelligent, and their fans are passionate. And they don't stand for stuff like this. Not Buffalo. Buffalo is a hardworking town who doesn't, that they don't want to see an entitled baby playing for their team and especially come back and then take a huge dump on them, you know, because he didn't like the fact that he was booed. I mean, what did he expect was going to happen? What did he expect?
Well, hold on. That's exactly what I'm dying to ask you. So, you know, what did he expect is a fair question, because, you know, I'm not in the Buffalo market, and I see in other sports, I see Ben Simmons in basketball bails on his team and they go back to Philly and he gets booed the whole way. And I'm like, yes. And I see it in a lot of different situations where guys ask out of town or, you know, whatever the situation is and fans are upset. Jack Eichel was a top pick there. He went there and performed well. He had an injury. He wanted a surgery. They wouldn't give it to him, so he had to go somewhere else. So when people were booing him last night, I'll be honest, Petey, I was like, I didn't entirely get it. So maybe you can give me some background on that. I get it now. Now I can see why fans could be pissed because the interview was a little, whatever you want to say about it. You've said it all. But give me the background on the booing and your thoughts about it last night.
I just think the way everything happened at the end of the year left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. You know, the fact that he did like fans don't want their star players to ask for a trade. Like they don't. And he admitted to Elliot Friedman, the day the trade happened or whatever, that the year prior, he did ask for a trade. And Elliot came on our podcast, you know, and we talked about, I forgot that had even happened, and he confirmed that last week. That alone, whether it's time or not or whatever, they don't ever want to hear that it comes from a player. I mean, I'm not familiar with other markets. I played for two teams. I played for Buffalo and New Jersey. And, you know, like New Jersey's had a ton of success. And, you know, like Buffalo's, you know, been struggling a little bit. They had success when I was there, only because I was there, right? But, you know, they don't want that. They don't want that. And that goes back to the part where I said they're passionate and they're intelligent and they're in the know. Like they follow the team. They're aware of what's going on. And you could sense for years that Jack wasn't happy in Buffalo. I mean, just look at his body language in his interviews. Look at his short fuse with media. You know, he never seemed happy. And I get it. Like they lost. But we're talking about a player that a friend, now, right or wrong, I was against the tank, okay? I was against the team tanking for the best odds at McDavid, knowing that if you finish last, your consolation prize is Jack Eichel. Pretty good consolation prize. Eliminate everything I just said about him earlier in his character. He's a hell of a hockey player, okay? So when your fan base, you know, suffers for a long time and this guy just wants out, that doesn't sit well. It doesn't, you know, Thomas Vanek sent us a message last night, both Craig and I. It was a text message, and, you know, he talked about how, you know, I don't want to say exactly what he said because it's not my place to speak on his behalf. But basically what he said was, I was booed. Sorry, I'm driving beside a truck here. I was booed when I came back to Buffalo, he said, I knew it was coming. He said, because fans are passionate. It's part of the game. Like, whether it's merited or not, like, that's what fans do. They boo. I mean, they boo when they can. They cheer when they can. Like it's to be expected. And I guess, like, Jack should have approached that completely differently and just accepted it, embrace it. Like, embrace the boos is the fact that he was loved. I mean, man, he could have shrugged that one off. He could have acknowledged it in a very different way and walked away with a much different impression of him from the entire hockey world. And some people love it, and a vast majority of people hate it. And you know, I don't know. I even dissected it to the point where I'm like, are we being too hard on him over this? I mean, was it a you know, are we overthinking what he said? Was it a shot at himself? And any which way you slice it, I mean, he completely threw the dagger.